Summer Series Part 6. Tim, what is going on here at All the Everything Podcast, sir?
Oh, man. You're in the midst of summer. I'm in the midst of having a cold.
Yep.
And, Billy took his time being sick on the podcast. Now it's my time.
Yep.
And then, to be honest with you, this was like a game time call because yesterday I called him like, dude, I don't think I can do it. Like, I barely have the energy to even move.
Mm-hmm.
Today, I felt like, all the medicine I took, I'm jacked up on it. I got these Ricolas if I need them. I have Kleenex. I have a mute button.
Yep.
Everything's going to go according to plan. So I know Billy will carry the load for me today if things go south.
Absolutely. Well, we experienced our first as a podcast last night. And that's one of the reasons why we decided we should record today, even though, we had been talking about a lot that we had done a lot of bulk recording. Like we had some fantastic episodes that we recorded.
Oh my gosh, Billy.
So Tim, tell him a little bit what went down yesterday, last night.
So I wasn't feeling well, and I was like, Billy, could we maybe just use some of the ones we pre-recorded? Like we had a shorter one. I won't tell you what it's about yet. Really quick one would be fun. And he's like, yeah, no problem at all. And I was like, that would give me a chance to rest, whatever. Then I start getting these panic texts from Billy. Tim, can you find that episode? I don't see it on our thing that we record on StreamYard. And I was like, I don't know. Let me go look. And I was like, I see it, but then it says the episode was deleted.
Three episodes. 3 episodes that we had recorded, just gone. Like
it was devastating.
And they were really, really good ones too, y'all.
There was a 2-parter we did, and it was really one of my favorite ones we've done in a long time, where we just had great banter. It was super funny.
Yes. Sickening, like sick to my stomach. Like, and the only reason I found out because we had it banked in our like the StreamYard account. I download these when I go to edit them because they live there. Well, we're changing our policy now where these will be downloaded on my computer as soon as we get done with them. But file not found. What the heck? And it was so weird. It was so weird because the one that's going to come out this week or this last week, the one that you heard last week, that one was right in the middle of the ones that were deleted. I don't know what happened. But
like our original episodes are on there from like when we first recorded back in last year in October. Those are totally fine.
We've never had an issue.
No, so I'm like panicking, Googling, and it's like, once they're gone, they're gone.
Once they're gone, they're gone. Well, sorry, y'all. SOL. Yep.
SOL. So we, as podcasters, as being, we're getting close to being into it for a year here shortly.
Yeah.
But we live and learn. Like I'm sure this has happened probably to other people, other podcasters, Billy, right?
Yeah. Well, at least it was only 3, and not the 5 that we had in the bank. So we saved 2 of them, thankfully, that are now safely downloaded on my computer, ready to be edited and displayed to all of you beautiful people when the time comes. But
the hard part about it, Billy, that was so upsetting is because there was a week where we did bulk recording. I think we recorded like 6 episodes.
Yes.
Like over a few days, and we were exhausted.
We were
by the end of it. Slap happy. Maybe that's why we had so much fun on those other 2 episodes.
Exactly. And then file not found. What the heck?
That was so defeating.
Yeah, our text messages were not PC for.
I might regret some of the words I said, and I was like, I hope no one else in his family is reading my text right now.
Nope, no kids around.
I think on top of it for me is like I was just already feeling like crap yesterday.
Right.
I was just like so drained, and then I dealing with some other stuff with work, and then this comes, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me, like.
And then I was like, well, I'm sure this is going to really help you rest and feel better tomorrow. Good night, bud.
Yeah, have some good panic sleeping. Yeah.
Oh gosh,
But yeah, we are resilient though.
we are, and
You
we're gonna
know.
do this for y'all. So hey, you'll you'll get the same fun joy, same great
Mm-hmm.
episodes. They just might be take two.
Take two.
Take two. We have an excellent, very fun episode for y'all today. So
Yes.
should we get to it?
Well, there ain't nothing to it but to do it. Are you ready, my friend?
You better believe it. Let's get into all the everything, y'all.
All the everything, we've got it all. We've got it all, small, weird, or tall. So grab your snacks, sit back, don't stress. Cause Tim and Billy talk about the randomness. Formation prone to UFOs. We'll take you where the weirdest goes. It's two guys talking way too loud about stuff that makes no sense, but we're kinda proud.
Well, welcome back to yet another amazing episode of All the Everything podcast. As always, I'm your co-host, Tim Sawhook, and I'm sick, but I'm still here.
Yep.
But I'm joined by the best in the business, the one who will pick you up, carry you, and say, Tim, I got you. He is the one, the only Billy Parchman. How
Thank you,
doing,
sir.
buddy?
I'm great, buddy. I'm sorry you're not feeling well, but we're gonna get through it. Yep.
Oh, look, let me say one more thing, by the way. I was
Yeah.
talking to Billy the other day, and he was in the car, and he was like, oh, Devontae Smith just walked by the front of my car. I'm like, wait, what? And for people who don't know who Devontae Smith is, he went to Alabama, and he is an all-star.
Heisman Trophy winner.
And he plays for the Philadelphia Eagles, if I'm correct.
He does. Super Bowl
And
champion.
He's a stud. He's a stud. I'm like, what do you mean he just walked by your car?
Just walked across, heading to the practice facility. So I guess he's in town working out.
And then you saw who also?
Mika
you texted-
Fitzpatrick just having lunch one day. I was telling Tim, I roll with legends. That's what we do here in Titletown, Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, so when you hear me introduce Billy as a legend, it's not wrong. He's really he's always like one step away from greatness. Always,
I can't tell you how many times I've drove by Coach Saban, like because he lives right down the road from us, and so like there's many times that he's going to work, especially like when I would work out early. And I would see him, and I'd just be like, Coach Saban, like just waving like a fool. And he's just on the phone, just talking, just focused. And Michelle makes fun of me every time. She goes, he's not paying any attention. So, but yeah, it's not anything surprising if you run into an NFL legend or a college football's greatest coach of all time.
Oh my God.
It's just another day. It's just Tuesday.
Now, did he ever wave back to you? Ever?
Oh
once?
no, Coach Saban's never waved back to me. And all the many times he's a focused guy, so he's focused on not some crazy waving idiot from the other car.
It's me, Billy.
It's me.
It's me.
Hey
I
neighbor.
live down the street. Yeah. My neighbor. You're not my neighbor. All right.
You're not my neighbor.
Oh my gosh. So anyhow, like I said, Billy just randomly, as I'm on the phone talking with him. Oh, there is Devontae Smith. Oh, I have lunch with Mika Fitzpatrick, and whatever.
Whatever it is.
Well, I mean, we can't deny that Alabama has turned out some pretty amazing
Pretty
NFL
epic.
players.
Yeah,
So,
pretty amazing. Yep.
but just so you know, we lost Mika Fitzpatrick. He's not with the Steelers anymore.
I know.
Got traded, but we did get
Yeah,
Jalen Ramsey though. So
Yeah.
hopefully that's a worthy trade. But anyhow, and we lost our running back.
Oh,
from
you
Alabama.
lost. Yeah, Najee Harris.
Yeah, he's.
I love
gone.
Najee. Yeah.
I like Najee as a person. He just couldn't get it done. Like he rushed for 1,000 yards. This is way off topic, everybody.
Right.
He rushed for 1,000 yards each year, but he just couldn't get it. He was just too slow in the pocket and stuff.
But not when he was at Alabama.
I know. My favorite thing from him was that one game where he like leaped over the other guy while he was running.
Some of the best moves,
Yeah.
just flying over folks. He's
a beast.
Highlights. Just a
Highlights.
highlight
And
reel.
those some things you can do when you do the things like you can go visit people when we do the things that we're going to talk about today, Billy. Like,
Yeah.
so if you wanted to go see them, you would have to do that by doing what?
Well, just grab your keys, pack your bag, hit the open
time.
road. So today we're talking about those summer road trips, y'all. That's right. Those
Man.
epic adventures, those just throw all caution to the wind and just go.
Yeah.
Just go.
Oh, yeah. Just go.
And so
Don't
we're
get.
going to be sharing some awesome, epic summer road trip stories with you all, and maybe a couple of personal things that we've done in the past.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Get throw in a couple personal ones.
Yeah.
But I found some really good, funny ones on Reddit. Reddit's our go-to for these crazy stories. Anyhow, we've got great stories. Let's get into them. Bill, you want to kick us off first?
Let's do it. Yeah.
All right, man.
When you think about road trips, one road in particular always comes up at some point,
Mhm.
and that is the historic and classic Route 66.
Double sixes.
And so, and so this this first story is called "The Great Burrito Incident of Route 66." Okay.
I love the name already.
Yep, there we go. I was 24 years old, freshly dumped, recently unemployed, and fueled by a dangerous combination of heartbreak and caffeine when I decided it was time to hit the open road. I called up my best friend Josh and said those 7 magical words, "Want to drive Route 66 with me?" He didn't even hesitate. "I'll bring the snacks." 2 days later, my beat-up Honda CR-V, affectionately known as the Falcon, was packed with bags, a cooler full of questionable gas station sandwiches, and 2 idiots who hadn't planned a thing except to start in Chicago and drive west. We had no itinerary, no reservations, just a playlist, a road atlas that we didn't know how to read, and blind confidence of 2 guys who thought a spare tire and half a roll of duct tape counted as an emergency kit.
Oh my
The
God.
first few days were pure magic. We saw the Jiminy Giant in Wilmington, Illinois, got
Mhm.
lost looking for a ghost town in Missouri. We ate our weight in barbecue in Oklahoma.
Mm.
Every night we would pull off the road and find the cheapest motel we could. One place had a vending machine that only dispensed RC colas and regret. Another had a heated pool, quotation marks, heated pool, that was just a kiddie pool sitting in direct sunlight. But hey, we were living the dream until Arizona.
Mm.
Now, up until this point, our stomachs had been surviving off of the delicate balance of beef jerky, Red Bull, and whatever we could heat up in the gas station microwave. But on day 9, just outside of Flagstaff, we found a little roadside diner called Mama Juanita's Burrito Barn.
That's a mouthful. Yeah.
There you go. Now, I don't know if it was just the exhaustion, the desert sun, or just blind optimism, but we both ordered the El Diablo.
Oh no.
A
Nope.
burrito so large, and it also came with a warning label and a waiver. Josh, being the more reckless of the 2 of us, finished his in 12 minutes flat. I paced myself, mostly because I'm not a lunatic. It was spicy, like weapon grade spicy. I think I hallucinated my childhood dog halfway through. Now, we got back onto the road, laughing, windows down, music blaring, and then that's when it hit us. The burrito.
Oh,
Not
no.
gradually, not gently, like a lightning bolt straight to the intestines. Now, I don't want to be graphic, but imagine 2 grown men sweating profusely, clenching for dear life in the middle of the Arizona desert, screaming at the GPS to find the nearest restroom like it was a hostage negotiation.
Oh my God.
The Falcon was doing 95 on that dusty highway while we played the world's greatest game of intestinal chicken. So
the visual of this story
Yes.
is amazing.
whew, finally we saw a sign, salvation, a gas station, civilization. We screeched into the lot like a NASCAR pit stop. Josh dove out of the car and made it to the bathroom first. I was not so lucky. My door wouldn't open. Something with a child lock. I was stuck in the parking lot in the desert with betrayal in my belly and tears in my eyes. let's just say the back seat of the Falcon was never the same.
Oh God, no.
We didn't talk for hours after that. Eventually, we cleaned up, forgave each other, and bought a cactus-shaped air freshener named Fernando, who rode with us all the way to California. We made it to Santa Monica Pier on day 12, watched the sunset over the Pacific. We were hair tangled, skin sunburnt, and stomachs were mostly recovered. It wasn't the road trip we expected. It was better, messier, weirder, realer. And as we stood there, Josh just looked over and said, you know, someday we're just going to laugh about the burrito thing. And I looked at him. Today is not that day.
Oh my gosh, that is a great one to start this off.
Oh, man.
The fact that they said they have to forgive each other, that part.
Things got real.
We've all been there in that situation where you're driving home from somewhere and you're like, oh.
You're just praying to God, like, Lord, get me through this. Come on.
That's when you start bargaining with God.
Yes,
please,
absolutely.
I will give you my first child for a couple weeks. I want her back, but
yeah.
No. Oh my gosh, the visual! If someone could make a cartoon to this, like put that together, because the way you told the story, I could visualize like everything going on. Oh man, the back seat was never the same again.
The back seat, poor Falcon, man, the poor Falcon.
That was good. And like the final thing, today is not that day.
Not that day. All right, my man. So what do you got for your first story today?
I don't know if mine's going to be as epic as yours, but it's definitely funny for sure. So the title of this first story is called The Wrong Turn That Led to the Best Barbecue Ever. So you know how GPS likes to play God sometimes, like you're cruising along, minding your own business. Then out of nowhere, it's like rerouting, and suddenly you're on a road that looks like it hasn't seen pavement since the Carter administration.
Oh, man.
Well, that's what happened to Josh and his three friends, Eli, Devin, and Marcus, on their cross-country summer road trip. So they were heading from Cincinnati to Los Angeles, chasing freedom, cheap motels, gas station snacks. It's the kind of trip you take when you're 24 and the only things in your wallet are a debit card, an old Blockbuster membership, and a crumpled up receipt from Taco Bell.
Yep.
Day 3, somewhere in Oklahoma, sun blazing, AC barely keeping up, and Spotify running on fumes because they were out of range. They were supposed to be taking I-40 straight through, but a major accident ahead triggered a GPS reroute. Ooh. And like any good Midwesters, they blindly obeyed the voice of the dashboard. I hate that when that happens. And then GPS chirps alive. Turn left on County Road 88. Well, County Road 88 looked like a tractor's driveway. Josh muttered, "This can't be right." But the road was paved, kinda, and the GPS insisted, so they kept going and going and going. They passed 3 cows, 2 rusted mailboxes, and a mailbox that might have been a goat. No towns, no signs, not even a gas station bathroom to fake a restroom break. This kind of sounds familiar.
Right.
Morale was low. Eli was hangry. Devin was arguing that this was how horror movies start, and Marcus was asleep. Always asleep. Then they saw it. A crooked sign leaning against a fence, scrawled in spray paint. Big Mo's Barbecue. Today only, free sweet tea. How can you pass that up?
Come on now.
Now, normally, that's the kind of sign you laugh at and keep driving. But they were starving, lost, and running low on beef jerky. So naturally, they pulled in. Is this the same people who went on a different trip together?
I mean, come on.
Sounds like it. Anyhow, so naturally, they pulled in. And they were not ready for what they saw. Behind the sign was a wide open field with rows of long tables. Kids were chasing each other through hay bales. A band was playing old country tunes under a white canopy. Smoke billowed from these 3 massive girls run by a man the size of a refrigerator, wearing an apron that said "Saucy since '79."
That's right.
Well, that was Mo, Big Mo. He spotted them immediately, like a barbecue guardian angel. "Y'all look like you need ribs and redemption," he called out with a grin. Josh stepped forward. "We're just passing through. We didn't mean to crash anything." Mo waved him off. "Ain't nothing to crash. This is our annual summer smokeout. Everyone's welcome. You boys hungry?" It was a rhetorical question. Within minutes, they each had a paper plate stacked with brisket, pulled pork, cornbread, and something Mo called hog crack. Which later, I know, which later they learned was bacon candied and brown sugar and cayenne.
Come on.
Like, this is like the road stop I want.
Heck yeah. Sounds awesome.
And the sweet tea, Billy. You want to hear about the sweet tea?
Tell me about that sweet tea, Tim.
So good, it made Eli close his eyes and whisper, "I'm gonna cry." They sat under a giant oak tree, mouths full, hearts happy, and for the first time in days, they didn't argue about directions, gas mileage, or who had eaten all the trail mix. They met locals. An older couple named Wanda and Clyde told them they'd been married 56 years and came to Big Mo's every summer just for the pie. A little girl gave them hand-painted rocks just for luck, and a guy with an accordion taught Marcus how to play Ring of Fire.
Nice.
It was weird, magical, and completely unexpected. And as the sun dipped low in the painted sky in purples and oranges, Mo brought out dessert. Banana pudding with homemade whipped cream. Banana pudding. Come on.
That's what I was about to say. It better be some banana pudding. Now, come on now.
And told the story of how he started the event 20 years ago with just a grill and a boombox.
Oh,
people these days, they don't stop, he said. Always rushing, always chasing. But barbecue makes folks slow down, sit a spell, share a table. That's what it's all about.
Amen.
They didn't leave until close to 9 p.m. Mo refused to take their money, said it would ruin the spirit of the smokeout. Instead, he handed them a care package, 2 jars of sauce, a Ziploc bag of hog crack, and a handwritten note that read, "Thanks for stopping. Stay lost sometimes. It leads to better places." They finally made it to Los Angeles, of course. Took 2 extra days, got a flat tire, slept in a Walmart parking lot. But when people asked what the best part of the road trip was, it wasn't Hollywood. It wasn't the beach. It wasn't even Vegas. It was Big Mo in the wrong turn down Count Road 88.
Man.
And that was their story. I mean, come on.
Come on.
At first, I thought I was reading your same story, but a different version of the road trip. Same people, bathrooms, the beef jerky. But that is, if I'm going to get lost, that's like my dream lost trip right there.
Yeah, man.
I mean, they're giving you plates of ribs, brisket, cornbread, banana pudding, that sweet tea that make you cry.
Oh, man.
What more can you want?
That's so good, man. I live in a place that I'm blessed to have some of the most amazing barbecue on the planet. And so whenever you come down to Tuscaloosa, we're going to hit up 2 particular spots here, Dreamland Barbecue and Archibald's, and get those ribs, y'all. We have some other great ones too, but those are like the two biggies. And so, oh, come on now, get some banana pudding. Come on.
How long does it take to drive from Cincinnati to Tuscaloosa?
Right. Yeah, you can make it by dinner time. You lose an hour.
Yeah, I try to lose an hour, so that's like gold, right?
Right, or you gain an hour. No, yeah, yeah. So it's like I'm an hour behind you. So come on.
So I do gain an hour, and I get some good barbecue.
Yep, there you go.
All right. Well, I'm going to have to make that happen. So that's the story about getting lost and finding the best barbecue ever.
I love
it. Good old Big Mo. Good old Big Mo.
Story. Great story. I love it.
All right, sir, you're up next. What do you got for us, buddy?
All right, so I have the man who drove around the world. Okay.
Oh, all right.
So in 2001, a guy named Jeffrey Polona, an Indonesian adventurer and biker, decided to take a solo ride around the world on his BMW R1150 GS motorcycle.
Okay.
His trip was supposed to take 2 years. It took 10 years.
Oh God.
He called it the Ride for Peace. His mission wasn't just about travel. It was about promoting peace and unity across cultures. It wasn't a vacation. This
Mhm.
guy rode through more than 90 countries across
Wow.
6 continents on 2 wheels, mostly by himself. And here is where it gets crazy. While in Pakistan, he got held up at gunpoint by tribal militants in the mountains. He literally talked his way out by explaining his journey. He was spreading the message of peace. They let him go and even gave him food. Then in Kazakhstan, he survived the freezing temperature only with his camping gear. So imagine being alone in the tent in the middle of nowhere with the wolves howling in the distance, trying to keep your engine warm so it wouldn't freeze
Oh
solid
my God.
overnight. Then in Europe, he was almost arrested in Bosnia because the border guards thought he was a spy. And in Africa, his motorcycle got stuck in a sandstorm in the Sahara. No cell service, no water, no
Oh my
backup.
God.
He had to dig himself out alone and wait for a passing nomadic caravan to help him refill his water supply.
Oh my gosh.
But here's the heart of it. Everywhere he went, people helped him, from gas station owners in Turkey who let him sleep in the back room to a school teacher in Canada who organized a last-minute fundraiser to help replace his broken gear, to a group of nuns in Ecuador who gave him shelter and hot meals. When he got to America, he rode from New York to LA and even stopped in small towns giving talks about his journey. People didn't just cheer him on, they joined him for parts of the ride. One guy in Arizona rode with him for like 3 days just because he said, I've never met anyone crazy enough to do what you're doing, and I don't want you to be alone. By the time he had finished in 2011, Jeffrey had survived 4 accidents, 3 near arrest, 1 malaria scare, and countless breakdowns, mechanical and emotional. And yet, when people asked why he kept going, he said, because peace is something you deliver by showing up, not talking about it. You ride, you shake hands, you listen. He didn't have a corporate sponsor. He didn't live stream it on YouTube. He just rode with a map in one pocket and hope in the other. So yeah, most of us might never ride around the world alone, but the next time you're on a road trip somewhere between gas station burritos and roadside sunsets, just remember, somewhere out there, a man once crossed the world on a motorcycle, not to conquer it, but to connect it.
Oh, I love
True
that.
story.
That's such a cool story. Like I couldn't
Yeah.
imagine. Like, how did he get from like country to country though? Like, did
Well,
he
I'm
take
sure,
boats?
I'm
or
sure, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure he like to get across the pond.
he didn't just ride his motorcycle across the
just
water,
across the water, full speed. Just listen.
like jet skiing it.
Jesus, take the handbars.
Yep. Please don't let me sink. Sorry for the singing.
Oh man,
No, that's a really good one. I'm surprised they haven't made a movie about that.
right? That seems like it's epic. It's got the enough epic tells to be a fantastic movie.
At first, I thought he was like the Forrest Gump version of a motorcycle guy, just going and going and going.
One day, I just felt like running.
That's what I was thinking that was going on originally.
Oh man, you just stepped in a big pile of dog. It happens.
It happened.
Sometimes.
That part of the whole running thing. That's a whole other thing. Anyhow, that's a great story. I love it. I love the connection part of it.
Yeah, man.
And just being in different cultures and that people helped him out and things like that. That's a really cool story. All right. Up next for me, the name of the story is The Lemonade Stand That Made Us Cry, but in a good way. Okay? So don't freak out.
Okay.
There's something special about road trips. Maybe it's the freedom, maybe it's the boredom, or maybe it's the fact when you're stuck in a car for hours on end, little things hit you harder. This story starts in the middle of a blistering Arizona summer. Jess and her younger sister Tessa were making their way from Austin to San Diego. It was a kind of a bonding trip before Jess moved out of the country for work. They didn't have much of a plan, just music, snacks, and the occasional, let's pull over and see what that weird rock formation is for a moment. Day 4 was 102 degrees outside. The AC was doing its best, but the car still felt like a convection oven. Jess had her arm hanging out the window. Tessa was singing off key to Taylor Swift, and they were both in that weird mood where you're slightly annoyed at each other, but too hot to fight.
Right.
As they drove into a tiny town, one of those with just a one stoplight, blink and you miss it places, they saw something that made him go, "Aw." It was a little boy sitting at the end of a dusty driveway with a tiny lemonade stand. We're talking cardboard sign, red plastic cups, one lonely pitcher of yellow liquid, and a folding chair that looked like it came in from someone else's garage sale. Jess kept driving, but 5 seconds later, she sighed and flipped a U-turn. "I'm not going to be the person who drives by a kid selling lemonade in this heat," she said. They pulled up. The kid was maybe 9, wore a bucket hat too big for his head, and had one of those Kool-Aid smiles you couldn't fake. "Hey there," Jess said, leaning out the window. "What's on the menu?" He grinned. "Lemonade, 50 cents. And if you want ice, that's free." Tessa laughed. "Well, now that's a deal." They got out. Each handed him $1. The kid poured 2 cups carefully, and he'd been practicing all day long. And when Jess asked, "What are you saving up for?" he proudly pointed to the sign taped under the table, and it read, "College Fund. I want to be a vet." And then in Crown, it added, "Animal kind, not the army kind."
Oh, cool. Yeah.
That broke them. Jess reached into her wallet and handed him a $20 bill.
Ooh.
"Put that in the fund." The kid's eyes went wide. "Are you serious?" "Dead serious," she said. "Just promise me you'll take care of Pugs because mine are spoiled." Oh, look at that. The Pugs
There you
come
go.
full circle. He laughed, nodded, and ran inside, yelling, "Mom, I got a 20." They drove away laughing, cheeks red from the heat and hearts weirdly full. Later that night, Jess posted the photo they took, him smiling behind the stand with both thumbs up on Reddit, and she titled it, "Just met this kid in Arizona. Somebody help him because the best dang vet in the world is waiting out there." She didn't think anything would come of it, just a feel-good post, but within hours, it started to take off. Someone in the comments asked, "Does he have a GoFundMe?" Another person offered to match donations. A local news station picked up the story and tracked down the family. It turned out his parents had set up a small fundraiser to encourage his entrepreneurial spirit, but had barely raised a few bucks. Well, that changed overnight. Within 48 hours, it had raised over $30,000.
Oh, come on. Now.
The comment, I know, isn't that amazing? The comments were a love fest. People were sharing stories about their childhood lemonade stands. Others wrote messages like, "This made my day," or "This is why I love the internet sometimes." And Jess, she cried. Not a little, like full ugly crying in a Holiday Inn Express. Tessa, of course, being her sister, recorded her and kept whispering, "You soft as hell," which didn't help.
Right.
Good sister. They kept in touch with the family. The little boy's name was Isaac. His parents were floored by the kindness, and Isaac, he was already looking into which vet schools had the best dog cuddling programs. But here's the kicker. A year later, Jess got a postcard in the mail. It was hand-drawn, a cartoon dog giving a thumbs up on the back, and it read, "Thanks for stopping. I'm still saving, still selling, still dreaming. Isaac." And below, his mom had written, "Your kindness started a chain reaction. You reminded people how good strangers can be. Thank you." So yeah, sometimes a road trip gives you Grand Canyon views. Sometimes it gives you greasy diner food at 1 a.m. And sometimes it gives you a cup of lemonade, a little boy with big dreams, and a reminder that the world isn't always as messed up as it seems. And that was a story about the lemonade stand that made them cry.
Oh, man. Come on now. That's sweet.
I mean, how amazing is that? When I read that first, I liked the part about the Pugs when I was doing the research on it.
Sure.
But that was my selfishness. But the fact that they stopped, and it's kind of going back to the story you had before about kindness and stuff, and how that kind of spirals. That's them being kind, making that little post, and they raised over $30,000 for this kid to go to vet school.
Come on now.
What a great road trip. Some of the road trips are funny, some are heartfelt, and some just make you realize you shouldn't eat that burrito. Don't ever pass up a good old lemonade stand in the middle of nowhere. You could change your life, right?
That's right. That's right.
All right. Billy, what you got for your final story today, my friend?
My final story, this one is called "The Summer I Chased an Email Across Europe." Okay.
Oh, okay.
So it all started the day after graduation. My high school relationship ended suddenly and painfully. Everyone seemed to know it before I did. It felt like my whole world fell apart overnight. I was embarrassed, angry, and honestly didn't know what to do with myself. The only person I felt that I could talk with was someone I had never met. We had been emailing back and forth for years, first about random stuff, but then about everything: music, jokes, life. They lived in Europe, but I was here. But somehow we connected like we were right next door. Now, after the breakup, I told them not to contact me again. I was stupid. I was panic driven. The next morning, I woke up and I regretted it. So, what did I do? I booked a plane ticket to Europe. A close friend came with me. We had no plans, just backpacks, train passes, and a faint hope that we could find this person.
Wow.
We landed in London and quickly got lost from the group that we had planned to travel with. Alone in this huge city, we ended up in a pub full of rowdy soccer fans. I accidentally cheered for the wrong team and realized just how out of depth we were. Next, we went to Paris, lost on the subway, short on cash, overwhelmed by crowds. Then Amsterdam, where my friend wandered off into places I didn't understand and came back shaken, and somehow I lost a pair of shoes in this chaos. In Amsterdam, we ran into two other friends, siblings, traveling on their own. We joined forces, and then suddenly our solo adventure felt a little less lonely. Together, the four of us made our way through smaller cities, including ones we just accidentally ended up at. A quiet town where we barely had enough money for a hotel and dinner, but somehow it felt like the best night of the trip. Eventually, we made it to Germany. I had one last message with the name of a university and a vague memory of what this person looked like. I split off from the group and I started searching. And then there they were, sitting outside a building, typing away. They looked up, smiled, and said, "I thought you would never come."
Wow.
We talked for hours about everything: the breakup, the trip, the distance. It wasn't perfect. Or some kind of fairy tale moment, but it was real. We spent some time together exploring the city, laughing, and just being present. And as the trip came to an end, instead of feeling lost or unsure, I realized something important. Life isn't about perfect plans or smooth journeys. It's about taking chances, about showing up even when you don't know what's waiting for you. So we all got back on that train together, heading somewhere new, ready for whatever came next, because that's what adventure really is: the willingness to keep moving forward.
I love that. No way. Is that really that movie?
That is 100% Euro Trip.
You lied. You lied.
Turned into a story of road tripping. Yeah, through 100% through.
You liar! You took a movie and turned it into a thing. I was like all like emotional into it, like, oh man, that's so amazing.
Scotty doesn't know with Fiona and me.
Oh God, I haven't seen Euro Trip in forever.
No. It's such a hilarious movie, but I thought it would be appropriate for this episode. So I was like,
you know what? You're right. You know what I'm going to do for the next 3 hours? I'm going to read the script to National Lampoon's Summer Vacation.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, the moose should have told you.
It's funny because it would be funny if we like took movie scripts and we said make it into it looks like a story. Yep. People were like, God, this sounds so familiar.
So familiar. Yeah, I was thinking like, right. I was just waiting for you to be like, when I got in a fight with a whole bunch of soccer fans, or
oh, everything kind of sounded familiar. At first, I was thinking it was like Ted Lasso. I'm like,
right.
But I was like, I was bought into it. Billy, it's your storytelling that did it.
Yeah.
You sucked me in. I thought it was this emotional moment.
Right.
And it was Euro Trip.
Yeah, the Euro Trip.
Well, was the rest of your movies you told or the stories
They're
were
all,
all
yeah,
lies?
those were all real. But I was like, for my last one, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna see if we can pull the
You know
old
what? Road trips
switcheroo.
are also about telling tales,
That's right.
tall tales and having fun. So
Every year it just gets more and more epic, right? Isn't that how
that's
it goes?
That's true. That's true. Well, my final story is the true story. So, but yet it's a good one. So bear with me as we get into the story that's entitled "When the Tent Flew Off the Car into a Wedding."
Oh,
You heard me right. So let me paint a picture for you. It's July, the sun's blazing, the air smells like pine and sunscreen, and Brandon and Marcy, 230-somethings from Portland, are 2 days into the grand Wild West camping adventure. They'd saved up for months, plotted their route through the Pacific Northwest, and investing in all of the gear, hiking boots, bear spray, and most importantly, a brand new rooftop tent. Now, if you're not familiar, a rooftop tent is basically just a pop-up bedroom strapped to the top of your SUV. It unfolds like origami and gives you a comfy space to sleep above ground, away from critters, rocks, and that inevitable weird wet spot you always find in regular tents. That's so true, by the way.
yeah, exactly.
Anyway, Brandon was very proud of this tent. The plan was simple: hit a trail, hike till they were sore, make camp, and repeat. But on day 3, something went wrong. They had stopped at a roadside general store, one of these places that sells jerky, fishing lures, t-shirts, and says things like Sasquatch saw me and ran. Marcy ran in for water and trail mix. Brandon stayed outside, checked his phone, and unbeknownst to him, forgot to finish tightening the straps on the rooftop tent after grabbing from something inside of it.
Oh no.
Yeah. Fast forward 30 minutes. They're cruising down a scenic byway, windows down, Fleetwood Mac on the stereo, when suddenly, thump, followed by the loudest metallic clatter you have ever heard. Marcy turns around and screams, "The tent!" Brandon slams on the brakes, dust clouds up behind them, and in the rearview mirror, they see their entire rooftop tent, this massive folded canvas box, tumbling through the air. It bounces once, twice, and finally, it's like something out of a rom-com gone wrong. It flies over a fence and lands in the middle of a wedding.
Oh no.
Yes, a real wedding. They throw the car in reverse and pull up to what looks like a countryside venue. Big white tent, string lights, rows of folding chairs, and about 50 people frozen in disbelief. The tent, their tent, sitting near the dance floor like a weird uninvited guest. Brandon jumps out, arms raised in surrender. "I am so sorry," he yells. "That's ours. It's a tent, and it's not supposed to be here." A groomsman starts walking toward him. Brandon panics, thinking he's about to get decked. Instead, the guy just stares at the tent, then bursts out laughing. You're like, what else would you do? He says, "This is the most exciting thing that's happened all day." Turns out they just finished the ceremony. The bride and groom, Emma and Kyle, high school sweethearts, super chill, and thought it was hilarious. Emma was still in her dress, holding a glass of champagne and laughing so hard she had tears in her eyes. "Well, you might as well stay for dinner," she said. "You already brought the entertainment." So they did. They helped drag the tent out of the way. No damage, just grass stains, and got it strapped back to the car. But before they could leave, someone handed them a plate. Then someone else handed them drinks. And before you knew it, Brandon and Marcy were slow dancing next to strangers, eating tri-tip and wedding cake under twinkle lights. They weren't just tolerated, they were welcome. Kyle joked, "Well, if the marriage doesn't work out, at least you got a camping story out of it." They took a Polaroid with the bride and groom, signed the guest book, sorry for literally crashing your party, and promised to send a wedding gift, which they actually did. A bottle of wine and a hand-drawn sketch of a tent flying through the air with the words, "Love lands where it needs to."
That's right.
The best part, a year later, Marcy got a message on Instagram from Emma. "We tell your story at every party. It's legendary. Still can't believe our first dance had background music and a falling canvas. And you guys are forever part of our day." So yeah, sometimes camping trips give you fresh air, campfires, and bug bites. And sometimes they catapult your gear into somebody else's wedding reception and you leave with cake and new friends. Accidental memories are the best kind. And that's the story. Could you imagine? I couldn't imagine that happening. And the fact that people were so kind about it.
Right.
I mean, there's some people out there who would have lost their dang mind over that.
Oh, did you ever watch the show Bridezilla? I'm like,
Oh yeah. Oh gosh.
oh my gosh, could you imagine?
Well, let me
It's-
just say I was a wedding DJ with my brother for about 15 years, and
Right.
we dealt with some Bridezilla. So
I mean, because
I
you,
ca-
you have like look on both hands. They had a memorable experience that was out of the normal, and they handled it fantastically, and everybody came around. Made it so much more happy. Or you can handle it the Bridezilla way, and
go crazy.
we're Karen Central here.
Yeah, Karen Central.
Yeah, sorry to all the actual people named Karen before that was ever a thing.
We have a very wonderful friend
We
named
do.
Karen who works for us, and she is the best. So,
and
this
she
is
calls
nothing
us
to do
out
with
every
you.
time we say Karen.
Karen K. I won't say your last name. We love you.
Yes, we do.
But yeah, I thought that it was just a cute, funny story. I just couldn't believe it when I read it. I'm like, what? Their tent flew off into a wedding?
Oh.
It reminded me of those bouncy houses that go flying in a storm. You just see them take off. I mean,
Yeah.
without kids in them. I'm
Oh
not
my gosh,
not the
that's
dangerous ones,
terrifying.
but-
No, yeah, I remember when I was a kid,
Yeah.
my dad taking us to go see my grandparents in Tennessee,
Mhm.
and so that was always like a big trip, like a drive. And on this one, he came and picked us up at our house, and then he had tied all of the luggage to the roof of the car.
Yeah.
And we had just gotten on the interstate, and we hear the dunk, and
Oh,
he's
no.
like, we hear the the certain choice words that came out of my father's mouth as he pulled over, and his suitcase went flying off, and he's like, "Why is it always just my suitcase?" It's like, "Well, you want it to be our suitcase," but yeah, pretty much, yeah, his suitcase flew off and then exploded onto the highway. So he's sitting there on the side of the highway, like picking up his shirts and underwear and all this other stuff.
Oh my
it
gosh.
was a mess. It was a mess. But
Well,
it was a memory that I always will remember.
Dad, you should have learned how to tie it down better.
Golly. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. We live in Cincinnati, Ohio. I grew up family of 7 kids, big family. And
Mhm.
we didn't go on like real vacations, stuff like that. I mean, we did a couple things, but our biggest trip was always driving to Pennsylvania to visit my grandparents. So we'd always had the grandparents, see them, nothing really super eventful. But
Mhm.
there was this one trip. And we had a big old station wagon, right? And we're driving along, and all of a sudden my dad's like, "Oh no, the transmission's gone out." And he's like, "I can't drive forward anymore." So all he could do was drive in reverse.
Oh,
And
no.
so he was on the freeway, and he had to drive reverse for about I was a kid, I don't know, maybe it was a mile, half mile. Everything seemed forever back then.
Right.
He had to drive reverse down the freeway backwards, up a freeway ramp backwards. And on top, we're not helping him at all. Me and my brothers are in the back. We have a piece of paper, and we're holding up signs that said, "Help us. Please help us. Help us. We're trapped in this car." And my dad's yelling at us, "Take those signs down. Take those signs down." And we're just slap happy in the back. But that's not where it ends. So he drives reverse, and we get into this little town in the middle of nowhere. And we pulled up, and we were parked next to this. I'll never forget this crappy old roadside hotel. It was called the Daisy Rose Motel.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of run by this old crotchety lady. And of course, they had like the classic like hobo outside walking around, like at the classic like drunk. I honestly think his name was Okie, if I remember this correct. And we ordered some pizza, and I remember him out there like begging for a piece of pizza. And so my dad gave him some pizza, tried to befriend the guy. My dad's a pastor, you got to be nice. But he's like, "Okay, I'm going to wait out here," because we had to call somebody to come rescue us or whatever. He's like, "You guys go ahead and get in this room." We get in this room, and it was a disaster as soon as we get in there. There was like a standing mirror against the wall. As soon as we walked in, the mirror fell down, shattered everywhere. My mom's like, "Just sit on the bed. We're going to watch this TV." We turn on the TV. It's nothing but this crazy static. Nothing's on the TV. Every channel is just crap. And all of a sudden we're like, what is going on? Well, my mom had put a quarter. Is one of those kind of beds where it's just like bouncing up and down.
No.
We were sitting on this bed like a bunch of. And you understand, Les, when we rolled in, we looked like a gang of thieves or something. Like we looked like a gang of hobos because we were all raggedy and crazy. But we did get rescued. So I have some friends in the church. I don't even know where we were at that point, and they came and rescued us, and I had to take the car home and stuff like that. But that was a crazy road trip. I remember.
Imagine.
Well, this was fun today, guys. I hope you had fun with it. We would love to hear some of your road trip stories, right, Billy?
Yes,
Where can they hit us up at?
Hey, check us out on Facebook. That's going to be the biggest place for y'all to connect with us and talk back and forth. We would love to hear your story on our page. And just check out, we're always posting videos. Leave us a comment. You can check us out on Instagram and the TikTok and X and especially YouTube. You can see this beautiful video if you're just out there listening. You could see our faces. And then we do the shorts on there as well. But yeah, check us out at All the Everything Podcast on all the socials. So.
Yeah, and I got to say, Billy does a spectacular job on all the socials, the graphics, everything's amazing. So go check it out. He does fantastic. They're very engaging. Just engage with us. Just let us know you're there.
Yeah,
we know you're there, but we need to know that we know that you're there.
Exactly.
You know? Okay.
You know. I know.
Oh, anyhow, thanks again for joining us today for Summer Road Trips, part of our summer series. We got a couple more summer series things coming up for you here shortly in the weeks to come. But we want to say thank you for joining us for a great episode, and we can't wait to have you back again next time for an amazing episode of All the Everything Podcast. Have a great week, everybody.
Bye, y'all.